If you think of directors, my starting point is always the Companies Act.
Yeah.
And of course, this is something you're very familiar with. The Companies Act takes a very, very simple approach and says the private company needs 2 directors, public company one director, public company at least 2 directors. Never tells us about qualifications.
Yeah.
And you can see how that has evolved. If we go to regulated entities, you need independent, non-executive, executive, audit, you need committees, chair of audit should have these qualifications. But that too, we are now at a point where we are talking about different things.
Yeah.
We are talking about ESG,
Yeah.
we are talking about diversity, we are talking about succession planning. What's your view on these emerging issues in corporate governance?
Yeah, it is very, very interesting. And by the way, when we talked about a good board, we also we don't want a board that is a rubber stamping board or what. We want a little bit of on that board. If you can have, we call them a disruptor or somebody who brings out the rest of the thing. It's very interesting when you are chairing a meeting in some. There's a board member who does not say much, but when you ask them or when you prompt them, you see what they come out with. So you want
sometimes they come out when you are just about to close the issue,
and then they come and then so you want actually, like we're having you want a lively debate.
Yes,
but also that you talked about the company, that also comes the way you draw your agenda and so on.
Yes.
The problem is that sometimes we spend too much time in a board meeting listening, receiving presentations and so on and forth. So you should actually have it half by half.
Yeah.
I've seen one of the boards, in part of the group training. Yeah,
50 slides.
Yeah. I've seen that? there is a board. There's a board where management presents 4 slides.
Yes.
Paperwork people have read, and I was in that board, and somebody, a board member, asked a question that on page 1002 of this document, how did you deal with this matter? But that's very important. But what has happened is, I think it has evolved. So there were things when you were board members, the issue of skills was not a big issue.
Yeah.
The board member, they were respected in sort and so on. Then we went to skills matrices and planning and skill gaps and so on. But then the world is moving so fast that, as you say, what are the emerging issues?
Yes.
And how do we deal with them? And how do we get them to represent the board? So for now, at some time, we were focusing on gender,
yes,
diversity. I definitely mainly worked on gender, but I think we can extend it to whether it's regional, which is whether
various aspects of diversity. And unfortunately, gender lands
in, and gender, I think we have made a long way, some good progress. But now the new areas. Digitization,
yes,
artificial intelligence, ESG. That's the, everyone knows here, environmental, social, and governance issues.
Yeah.
First of all, when I'm now approached by colleagues, when I was at Stanbic as chair, I was also chairing the nominating committee of the group. So I look for board members. You meet somebody who says, Mr. Katto, I'm looking for a board member. Yes. I said, are you looking for an accountant or a lawyer? No. I want somebody who knows digital and digital transformation. I said, I'm looking exactly for the same person.
Yeah.
Now, people are asking ESG and so on. So what is happening? How do you deal with those matters? Actually, I was reading, I knew I was going to be interviewed by a professor, so I did a lot of reading last night, anticipating questions. We did not come.
I suspect I didn't ask the question.
We did not come. But first of all, as a board, before you even start, getting the boards with expertise on the team, have you got the technical expertise in the organization itself?
Yeah.
If you talk about ESG, I think technology, digital, and so ESG, have you got somebody? I've still got somebody there. Then number 2, where do we get the board member who has the experience? But if you know the experience, a very good appreciation of what is happening in the environment, what's the impact of climate change, and do it not because it is in vogue, but because there is an impact, going to have an impact on the organization.
Yes. On the organization.
And those board members, therefore, are going to bring value to the board. And as I said, the danger always you have with technical people is sometimes they may micromanage. But ESG is very interesting. I was thinking about it last night. ESG has environmental, social, and governance. Actually, it's difficult to get sometimes the board member who has all of those. But if you have a strength now, climate change is a big issue.
Yes.
Yeah. The social issues have always been, the governance issues have been there, and so on. So how do you get those members? Therefore, as board members, first of all, as board chairs, as board members, we need to bring all our fellow board members up to speed on what this is. How does it fit in strategy? How does it impact the business? How do we implement it? Then we go out to look for board members who can support us. Because you see, the board is actually about asking the right questions. That's what it is all about. Asking the right questions. And sometimes you may not ask the right questions when you don't have the right knowledge.
Yeah.
And so those are emerging. So, but there is a shortage, or at least on the face of it, we're still struggling to get those board members. The other contradiction you get actually, some people who have got the expertise, who tick all the boxes, we say, you know what, I'm better off being a consultant
than being
on the board. Because of these rules, tough rules and restrictions that you have on the board. If you join a board of a bank that you think you're going to borrow money at a lower rate, you get very, very disappointed. In fact, it's tougher to do that. So I think we have got to do that. But I think for us, Winnie, is to continue creating awareness. Why are these things important and so on? And then if you are in a group structure, you've also to be very, very careful, because the group may have reached a position.
Yes.
We've got a big biomass plant at Uganda Breweries, but that is part of the strategy of Diageo, what they call 2030. So that where they will have been compliant and so on. So you got that. So the board has got to be alive for that.
To the group context.
Group context.
And the direction of the
group. Direction. But you need to buy it in.
So essentially, two things that you said about this. One, you need awareness at the board level. Yeah. And I think this speaks to board director development. Yeah. Yeah. And some people may find it strange, but when you get onto boards, you don't have knowledge in all aspects. Yeah. So bring the board up to speed. You also make an important point. Let's have the expertise in the organization.
Absolutely.
When I have been involved with organizations and we talk about ESG reporting, one of the things I always say is you must build knowledge. Yeah. You just can't wake up and do it, because then you get into trouble. Actually, you will either get it wrong, and we get into the brainwashing and all these things. So build the knowledge, bring awareness to the board level, and start to walk the journey. And of course, with all these aspects, it's a journey. It's never a one-time event. Okay, that's interesting. So
the other thing it is a very good thing to have. I know boards people are very busy, but always use the opportunity at a board meeting to probably have a deep dive into a particular session. And if you can get somebody outside to come and talk to you for 30 minutes or so, it's a very good idea. I found it a very good idea to get an expert or somebody who has experience to do that.
And on various topics, because you may actually be blind to a couple of things, emerging things that may present opportunities for the organization, or you've never thought about an issue in the context of the work of the organization.
In regulated organization, you can get so obsessed about risk that you don't look at the opportunities. Because board say, "Oh my God, what happens if that? They have brought
are we getting close?
Are we getting close? Are we getting? They have brought new regulations now, and that type of stuff."
Good.